live in separate apartments with my boyfriend a block away.
Wow,
I won't move in with him. He's great. I'm more annoying, honestly.
I'm going to add something else to the mix. Is I also live with my mother-in-law.
You're a hero. What? Yeah. We are here with stand-up comedian Carole Montgomery. So excited to have you.
So thrilled to be here, ladies. Thank you.
You just went through a scare with your dog. We were talking about a dog in dogs in the intro. Corinne was talking about, encouraging people to adopt because they're all overflowing. You adopted a senior dog.
Yes.
And recently had a scare, but I assume this dog is like a beautiful addition to your heart and your home.
When I was listening before I came on, I was just like, everything you were saying is yes, 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 yes. They dogs, any animal, it is an addition to. I cannot even tell you the difference this dog has made in my life. And we left the ER, and the doctor said, "Leave your phone on." And I thought, that's it. I'm never going to see her again. And I literally went in. I was down. Because we brought her in thinking, because she's an older dog, she has issues, and we thought they were just going to say, she just needs fluids. And when she said she was in anaphylactic shock and she could die, and I said, well, can I see her? And she was all drugged up. They covered her up because they didn't want us to see. She was covered, and I just stared into her eyes, and I sobbed. And I'm not, I'm not a sobber. I don't let people, but I don't let people see that side of me. But I lost it. I couldn't, And then out of 6:30 in the morning, the phone finally rang. Of course, I was up all night.
Oh yeah.
And the doctor was giddy. She said, "We saved her. You can come see her." And I was like, "What do you want? Can I buy you a car?"
Yeah. I know.
Oh, God.
It's crazy. Well, and I mean, I don't know if you had to fill out the same paperwork, but I think I was at Blue Pearl too when my dog ate an entire box of chocolates while I was sleeping. But I had to rush him, and basically you're signing paperwork that says that's what amount of money are you willing to pay for us to not have this dog die? And I literally wrote in my own thing, whatever it takes, I will lose my home, save this dog.
Yeah.
I was like, do anything, no amount is too high. I kept writing that, But I was I went to the bathroom at the animal hospital, was dry heaving, and I had my first panic attack, and then I went home. I had to call our friend who's an RN, and I'm like, I've never had a panic attack before. I'm 30 years old. How do I handle this?
Right.
It was crazy. I was absolutely crazy.
It's so interesting because this has to do with my childhood. I always wanted a dog.
Yes.
And my parents were always like, "You're not going to walk the dog." And so I never got a dog. Do you know what my father did one year?
What?
One year he came home from work. He was a teacher. And he goes, "I have a surprise for you. There's a dog outside." And it was a mechanical dog.
That's rude.
What a cunt.
That's
I came running out.
I would never forgive him.
Oh, I didn't forgive him.
Tough.
But it was one of those things where it went,
I had that dog.
Okay.
That dog is fun, but it's not
It's
a real dog.
not a dog.
There's no fucking soul in it.
So, and I've had dogs before, but this one she's just very special. She really is.
I feel like we have soulmate dogs too.
Yes, I heard you talking about soulmates.
Sometimes I'll meet a dog on the street and we'll just look at each other like we've missed each other. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Or my dog usually doesn't give a fuck about other dogs, but sometimes I'll see a dog that's his long lost girlfriend or something. I'm like, what is happening here?
Exactly. It's people don't, we don't realize the amount of joy that animals bring to our lives.
Well, and in a relationship, I've found, because you're married, you have a husband. How long have you and your husband been together total? Oh, so you love him?
Yeah.
Can't get enough of him, huh?
40 years.
40 years, shit.
40 years.
That's something.
I like to say that I could have killed somebody twice and been out of jail by now. But 40 years.
Sometimes a dog can eat, I don't know. Sometimes a dog plays a nice role in a relationship, especially if you're mad at each other, whatever. A dog does a great job of taking the tension out of a room.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's just something else to talk about or discuss when you just are seething.
Yes. And that's happened recently.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, here's the dog. Oh. I'm not mad at you anymore.
See, I have a problem with my boyfriends getting jealous of how nice I am to the dog. This is more of a reflection on me, I think, but.
Well, you know what? How long have you been with your boyfriend?
No, this is multiple boyfriends. I am
okay.
not with a boyfriend right now. That's why I'm smiling. So.
Well, when you're married for 40 years, all of that shit goes out the window. Probably.
What kind of shit? Like
the type of thing, the jealousy, the stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I have a grown son. So what you it's like I love you, but there's somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
And my husband and I have actually had this discussion about, well, God, if either one of us was in the ocean drowning and Lane, my son, was in the, we both look at each other and go, we save Lane.
That's
both
a healthy
of us.
marriage. That's a healthy marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
I'm like,
were you like secretly pissed that he said your son too, or no?
no,
Okay.
not at all.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we've been together. 40 years is a long.
It is.
You don't realize it until you go, oh my God.
There's people that like still like have been together for like decades and see their husband and they're like, wow, there goes the love of my life. And I'm like, really? It feels like that's weird.
No, he is the love of my life. He pisses me off constantly, and I piss him off constantly.
Yeah.
But when you were talking about soulmates, he's my soulmate.
Oh, that's
he really
beautiful.
is. He really is my soulmate. But like I said, he annoys the shit out of me. This is not like it's like, like,
It's just
oh
not
my
bliss
God,
every moment.
but
well, also too, like being physically with another person that amount of time feels like it's rape on your soul, frankly, no matter how great that person is, because you just need to decompress by yourself. So do you guys have your lives worked out so that you have alone time, or not really?
Oh, well, but that's how, the reason we stayed together all these years is because when I was a young comic, I was on the road 40 weeks a year.
I was going to say, that's a great occupation to have, to also be married. I might get married if I start going on the road more.
Yeah, because then you could really miss the person.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely that is why we stayed married. Because so I was on the road all the time in my 20s and early 30s, and then we moved to Vegas because I got a gig in Vegas, and then I was living
You're like
with
Hacks. I love it.
Yeah.
Do you watch Hacks?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. I don't have the multi-million-dollar home though, but
Yet, Carole.
but that's true. Put it out there. But when that first year, because basically it was like a normal suburban life, except that I was working in a titty show.
Yeah. Were you working at a titty show?
Yeah, I was working at two different.
Were you the funny girl in a titty show?
Yeah, I was the funny girl.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so, but that first year, I was like, oh my God, he's here all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That really got to me.
That sucks.
It does. Yeah. It does. It took a lot.
Yeah.
I could not wait to get. We did 13 shows a week, so we were off on Monday, so I could not wait to get to the show because we did 2 shows, and I thought, won't be home till 1, honey. Love you, bye.
Yeah.
Could not.
Were you living in a house or an apartment?
In a house.
That helps too.
Yeah, I'm like, so you got sick of him even in a house, because that's my thing. Because I'm just like, if I could just have this space be a little bigger, because when you think about it, when you grow up, like I grew up in a very modest-sized home with mom, dad, and brother, and dogs, and sometimes birds and other things, and like. I always felt like I had my own space. I also had the attic bedroom though, so I know my brother feels differently.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
maybe
I'm
that's
like,
why he's traumatized.
Yeah, I was like able to navigate that. So surely, and I wasn't having sex with any of my family. So
there you go. That's good. That's nice. That's nice.
You add that to the equation, it seems like it might make it easier to cohabitate. But like, what do you feel like that? This is like specifically, I'm obsessed with cohabitation. I've never done it with a romantic partner. How do you? Do you have tips? Do you have tricks? Because that's the part where I might kill someone.
Yeah. And I love hanging out. I live in separate apartments with my boyfriend a block away.
Wow,
I won't move in with him. He's great. I'm more annoying, honestly. But I'm like, ugh, it just sounds scary.
I'm going to add something else to the mix, is I also live with my mother-in-law.
You're a hero. What?
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So we have
Cool?
So we have a 900 square foot apartment, and so she has the living room, and we have the other room used to be my son's bedroom because he was there too for.
Holy shit!
And then we have the other bedroom, so 4 people in a 900 square foot apartment.
Wow!
So
you're a hero. You're like made of something else. You're superhuman. That's crazy.
So getting back to it's not comfortable. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So that's why I go on the road a lot. I try to go back on the road now.
Yeah.
Because
career motivation.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's like when they all started annoying me. I went to Iraq for 2 weeks because I couldn't wait to get out of the fucking apartment. They all live with us.
Blame you at
and
all.
I was like, I'm going to go maybe get killed or my head cut off. But I would feel so much better being away from it because it's just too much. It's too much.
Yeah. Is this a permanent situation with the until
well,
you know?
Yeah.
Well, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So God decides.
Is she ill? Is she like old and going out on her way out?
When there's a nuclear bomb, the only thing left will be
her.
Twinkies, cockroaches, and her. She will
It's
outlive.
always the ones
impenetrable.
that you want to be like, go on now, you can go.
Yeah,
That
it's
just stick
okay. Go
around, man.
ahead. She's like, I'm just going to die when I die, and I'm like,
You can do it now.
Exactly.
How old is she?
87.
Damn. Does she need like care? Like that's, or is she like a healthy 87 or not a healthy?
Not.
Oh my, does she have an aide?
No.
Oh my.
It's you, yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
My mom did that to my dad's parents,
Yeah.
who treated her like crap. And I was like, wow, Mom, you are a good person for doing this. But like, I saw the toll it took on her.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't, wow.
Yeah, no, it's not fun.
Yeah.
But when you're in a long-term relationship, I mean, it's his mother, it's not my mother. Of
course,
you know.
yeah.
But when you're in a long-term relationship and he needs the
Problems
help,
are your problems.
yeah, and he needs the help. You know, I mean, men, to the guys who are listening, sorry, but men
get
are
it.
just not capable of that. Like when she's had a billion strokes, but when she was at one point, we went to the hospital because something had happened. She was in rehab, and then this is interesting. A sidebar. With elderly people, a UTI mimics the effects of a stroke. So they thought she had a stroke. So we all go in there, the three of us, me, my husband, and my son, to see her because I had just left her yesterday and she was fine and she was in a coma. So the look on my husband and son's face was like, what do we do now? And of course, to me, because I'm the one that's going to take care of it.
Wow.
Men don't have that capacity.
See, I think they do. I think it's weaponized incompetence.
Like, what if you stop taking care of her?
They do.
He would. It's his mother. He would have to.
Oh yeah. No.
What if you were like when you're on the road? He takes care of her.
No, but that did happen. That did actually happen
okay.
because at one point he's like, "You're really tense and upset." I said, "She's not my fucking mother."
Right. I would have so much resentment.
Yeah. So I said that, and now he's picked up the
Good.
He's picked up the ball a little bit.
Slack.
Right, because I mean, like, first of all, you allowing her to live with you was extremely nice.
That's very nice.
Well, we moved into her place because it's a New York City apartment.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we moved in with her, but
So you've been living with them for a while.
18 years.
Wow. Oh, okay.
You can.
God
I will
bless
give you
you.
a keys.
Yeah, I will stay here. Please, I would love that. Anybody who wants to offer me their
Well,
apartment.
I'm going away in July. I got a 1-bedroom with a great view. You could totally go there and decompress.
Do you know how many people have done that for me?
Good.
Like a bunch
You
of
deserve
comedians
it.
go, "Hey, come here.
You deserve it.
I'll even take care of your dog."
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. Wait, let's do that. I feel suffocated by your own situation. I'm like, you are incredible. That's amazing.
Well, like I said, and there's other things that have happened in our relationship, in our marriage, where we've actually gotten stronger from it because we've gone through a lot of shit. When you're with somebody for 40 years, there's a lot of shit that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do learn how to cope with it, but it's hard. I'm not, I'm not looking for anybody to go, "Thank you for saying that," but I'm not. I just,
you just accept it.
This is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
More so because it's his mother and it's my son's grandmother.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure.
If this was just some old woman, she'd be dead already.
Right. Yeah,
that's fair.
I was always very impressed with my mom for taking care of my dad's mother especially because my dad's mom, before her stroke, was just so like she bullied my mom, and I was like, damn, that's a beautiful thing you're doing there. Yeah, so that's good.
So me and your mom should go out and drink.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's your you time like? Like, do you have it?
I mostly when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
Just reading and just chilling and just,
Nice.
and I do, I love going out. Like, I don't go out a lot to do stand-up anymore because I've been doing it for 40 years. So I always feel that, I call it spots with purpose because I think that so many comedians just go out to say, hey, look, I'm doing the grind.
Yeah.
And I think that's bullshit. I think that you have to have a reason to go out. So when I do go out and I'm out, I'm like, I'm having such a good time. So that also, just being out, being around comics, I mean, the way we met was great. Both of us.
I walked in as you were just annihilating on stage.
That was a great crowd.
Fuck is this woman? She's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But that that to me is being around my peers. It's very funny because I'm sure you know this. When you talk to people who are not in the business, we call them civilians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just
normies.
Because my husband plays ball, like softball in the park with all the normies, and they'll try to talk to me, and I'm like, I have nothing to say.
Yeah.
Please go away from me. You're not in comedy.
Yeah, our social skills are just
we have terrible social skills.
Well, or like let get into it or don't talk to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Because also I think comedians, first of all, I think we're smarter. I think we're
always looking out. We're always observing.
We're always observing. Like when I was at my dad passed a while ago, and when I was at my family's Jewish. I don't practice, but we were sitting shiva and. We were at my sister's house, and all of her friends, she's very sweet, good. I love my sister, but we literally were sitting at the table, me and my son, because my husband had to work that day. And her and her friends started talking about this one Italian place, and what should they have ordered, lasagna or Parmesan?
Those are the moments that I want to kill myself. Yeah, I find it really hard. Like baby showers, weddings, these kind of things. It's like... because I don't
Normal
want
people have weird conversations.
I don't want to fuck it for whoever I'm with. Like I don't want to I know I have to be on like my best behavior, but I don't know what to talk about. Maybe we should start bringing like a little jar with topics.
Cards. Yeah.
That would be a great.
Honestly, I would do it.
I was and my son was literally sitting where you were, and both of us were like this.
Yeah.
Like, what
Jesus
do we
Christ,
for an hour?
Yeah,
dude. Most people are boring, and that is such a tragedy.
But I also think like we had a conversation about this like a while ago. But I also think if left to their own devices, many people will bring up a really boring subject, especially as we get older. But if you pitch like a more interesting topic, they will bite.
Right.
Like, so I'm like, I have to just start the topic.
Right.
And then they'll latch onto it. I found out. So I'm like, they have the potential. They're just like not challenging themselves with material.
They don't have the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when it's every so often I'll play the Borgata, and my sister always she's
just there.
Oh yeah. It's, I love that place. Just for the hotel.
Sure.
Yeah. You just go. So
the Borgata buffet, world famous. My grandparents love that place.
Right. So my sister always comes and stays with me for a night because she lives in Jersey and everything. And when we're together and talking, we talk.
Yeah.
But it's when she's out, people who, normies or civilians, when they're out, they don't talk about anything more than.
Yeah.
I think there's also fear there, though, right? So we don't have the fear of like offending people or bringing up the wrong subject.
Oh, not the three of us.
No, fuck that. I'm talking about aliens, childhood trauma right away.
Yeah, and so I think like sometimes people just like land on what was better, the lasagna or the chicken parm or whatever, because out of fear.
Yeah,
that's true. I recently had a conversation with a makeup artist on a TV show I was doing, and I launched right into like trauma and talking to dead people and aliens. And I could tell no one's ever brought those topics up to her like randomly. And we were like glued to each other. We were like soulmate friends. So I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, when people do have those sentiments, but no one around is interesting enough to bring them up.
Right.
Yeah. That's why everyone wants to be a comic now, because we're cooler.
We are cooler. And everybody does want to be a comic.
Yeah.
And if I could give you any advice, don't start now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a career for 40 years.
Yeah, that's pretty, that's not nothing.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it's different now in the sense that because there's so many other avenues, with all the videos and going viral, everything. But in the end, it's still you and a mic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's all you have. And if you're not good, that will show very,
very quickly. Very quickly.
What was it like starting 40 years ago as far as like being a woman in comedy? Because I mean, that's a question that we've been asked at different points over the course of, the past, 13, 14 years in our careers. Yeah. So.
Well, first of all, okay, so I started in 1979. So there were maybe...
Oh, right before the boom.
Right before the boom.
Cool.
Yeah, and so there were the women that were out at that point was, of course, Elaine Boozler. She was the one. Elaine Boozler.
Big animal advocate.
Yes, huge animal advocate.
Yeah.
So her, and then there was a couple of other women, and then around us, the women that the women I started with was Rita.
Rita's one of my favorites. I used to watch her specials that they would play on TV, and I just love that she was wearing a ball gown. I was like, oh, she can be like a Barbie and a funny woman at the same time. She started the whole trend because the other women that were successful around that time. During
suit
my
jackets and stuff.
Suit jackets, or it was Ellen DeGeneres or Rosie O'Donnell, because they had to. A lot of women felt the need to dress down. Because you wanted to be...
I'm one of you guys.
Yeah, I'm one of the guys. I'm one of the boys.
Don't look at my boobies.
Yeah. Right. I used to wear... There used to be a great dress. Betsy Johnson was my favorite designer when I was...
I love Betsy.
And I used to wear these like really cute little Betsy Johnson dresses with Reeboks, with high top Reeboks.
That's a good look.
I love that.
You know, but I just wanted, as a woman... to just go on. I never knew I was a woman until I became a comedian.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Do you know what I mean? Like I was all, now we have a female. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I remember coming back here after being away. I was in LA, then Vegas, and I came back and I was doing a spot at Dangerfield, and I walked in, it's all guys, and nobody knew me because I was in Vegas and LA, and they all ignored me. And then I went on and I did my set, and all of a sudden I got off stage and everybody wanted to talk to me. And it was like, you know, because that's how it's even though there's more women now, it's still a boys' club.
I was just in a green room with Ashley Austin Moore's fellow comedian, and there was two guy comedians who I love and are lovely people there, and there was a couple other guys there, and we were looking at. We were trying to all talk, and it felt like a game of double dutch, trying to fucking get in the conversation.
Right.
We're friends with these people and have been doing comedy the same amount of time. And then I've just looked at her like, remember Polly Pocket? Wasn't that cool? And like we just had our own side conversation. They didn't even notice because it was such a like tight boy bubble and they're great people. It was nothing against them, but I was like, we looked at each other like, this shit's still happening? That's wild.
It absolutely is still happening. And back then, what was interesting, because there wasn't a lot of us. I mean, you could literally count, maybe there was 20, 25 women. So we were considered like who's that and everything.
Right.
And I was very lucky because I never had an issue with the men.
Nice.
Not probably because they knew I'd rip their balls off.
Good.
Seriously. Like, I think they knew me. I remember one time, this is so funny. We were driving to some shitty gig, and I forgot who the comics were. It was three guys. We were three guys and me, or maybe, and we were all sitting in the car, and we're driving, and one of the comics is driving and everything. And we got into talking about sex, and I remember saying, just flippantly, I went, well, if you blow somebody, it's not really considered fucking. And I thought he was going to stop the car. Like they all went, what? It was the funniest thing. And I literally went, I'm not blowing you guys. I'm just telling you this is how I feel.
Right.
But it was such a funny, like they all turned and then turned back. And because I immediately went, if I was going to blow somebody, it wouldn't be anybody.
Wouldn't be any y'all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But so I was really lucky, and now I mean I've heard horror stories from younger female comics, and I'm just like, oh, guys, just because women are in the same workplace with you doesn't mean you have your pick to go. Oh, I'm going to fuck her, or I'm going to,
Yeah. Yep.
It's terrifying.
So if you could know something about being in a relationship for 40 years back when you first met your husband, what would it be? Like if you could have gotten a heads up about something about what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody who you consider your soulmate, that like relationships are not easy. They're a lot of work. What's something you wish you would have known?
That I was going to end up with him for 40 years.
Right.
Or that I could have, I was so young when I met him. I was like 23 or 24 or something. I was a baby. And I look at young women now and I'm like, I wish I had more fucking time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because your 20s is like, that's
major fucking time.
Yes.
And I was with him and that was it. And so, so I wish I had that time to really explore And I didn't get a chance to do that.
Is he older than you or similar?
No, he's younger. He's a year younger.
Oh, okay.
He's a
okay,
year
so you guys
younger.
are about the same age.
And and if I showed you pictures of him when we were young, he had long hair. He was a rocker. I was
cute.
a cute. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my God,
you both were doomed.
Exactly.
Doomed from the start.
Exactly. I had big tits. It was I do, and I'm sure he feels the same way because we got married I was 26 and he was 25.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's young.
That's super young. And you never thought, like, during the course of the marriage, you never, like, had a conversation about having time to explore? Because, everyone's poly now, Carole.
Well,
everyone's open or something.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even a
That's adorable. Everyone's poly now. I would love that. Let me bring a girl back to the apartment with my mother-in-law and my senior dog. That is going to be,
hot.
It's going to be so hot. I'll have
complimentary earplugs so you don't hear the yelps.
Exactly. Yeah. Mom, can you record this for us, please? Because
it's gonna go viral.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? This, honestly, at this, when you're with somebody for so long, I'm just like, whatever.
Not even now. Maybe like 30 years prior, or like it never once came up. Like someone never brought up like.
Oh, fuck, are we in this?
Yeah, yeah.
I will tell you one time, and this is how naive both my husband and I were. Okay, it was a honeymoon. We were in Acapulco. By the way, I was the only person ever to bring drugs into Mexico. I literally brought joints into Mexico. I had them. This is so old. This is so long ago. But I put them in my socks and just put them in there, and nobody.
Oh yeah, because TSA wasn't a thing yet.
That's a 9/11 thing. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I always forget that.
Yeah. But we met these two women, and my husband and I were talking about it just recently, and we went out drinking with them. I think we ended up like I had brought mescaline. We were all flying.
Yeah. Shit.
And we hung out all night and had the best time. And I think afterward, we could have done something.
Oh, like a swingers
little
kind of
three-way?
thing.
Four-way?
Yeah.
Right, four-way.
My husband and I both went, this is years later, went, you think that they wanted to fuck us? And we were like, probably. Why didn't we do that? Because the two of us we were so fucking young. And it's also, your generation of women also are much more aware of sex.
Yeah. Too aware.
Yeah.
A little too aware.
Yeah. I mean, when I was 14, I want to say 14 years old, my father was a teacher, so every summer we would go, we would travel. Took me to Europe. We were in Portugal. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, we were in Portugal for 2 weeks. I always tell this story because I meet a French Moroccan soldier who was like an Adonis.
Well,
must have been
probably
18.
Eyebrows of an angel. Jesus Christ.
Just gorgeous. And 18, 19 years old. I was 14. I met him. We're literally we were staying at what now is called an Airbnb, and we're on the steps and we're making out and everything. And I remember him saying, "You want to go down to the beach?" And I was like, "No, I'm good right here." No idea.
Know he meant,
I didn't know.
E and V.
No, I mean, what a great story that would have been.
Yeah, but what a great makeout you had.
Yeah,
Good
he
for
was.
you.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like I had no clue.
Right.
I really didn't.
When did you?
Well, you're
lose?
14. I mean, that's young.
I was 16 when I lost it to my abusive ex-boyfriend, who's dead now.
Yay!
Oh,
yes. And it was my sweet 16. And for some reason, because like I said, because you guys know me now, so I was like so naive as a kid. I decided I wanted an all-female Sweet 16 party, and we all had to dress up.
That's so
that's
sweet.
really nice.
Right? So after the Sweet 16, he comes back to my, where I don't know it was in my bedroom. So I don't know where the fuck my parents were, probably high because they used to get high.
Oh.
So, and all I remember about my losing my virginity is I had a beautiful green dress that was long because that was the style, and it was over my head. That's all I remember. And it was over really fast. It was over my head and over really fast.
Wow.
So you couldn't see as you were losing your virginity?
No.
Whoa. Blind virginity loss. That kind of, you know what?
Kinky.
Yeah.
Pretty kinky.
Was that partner, how did they eventually show signs of abuse? Was it right away? Was it like early on? Were they charming?
Yes.
I'm always very interested in this. Abusive partners are usually very charming and charismatic, and all the friends and family, we love your boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, you gotta be.
And then when he bops you, they're like,
Yep.
not him. And you're like, now I'm alone.
Yeah.
Cool.
No one is a worse judge of character to a boyfriend than friends and family. I just want to put that out.
Oh,
there.
I absolutely agree with you.
The worst people, my friends will be like, oh, we liked him the best. I go, well, you're actually dumb. You're a dumb person.
Yeah. No, he was captain of the football team.
Okay.
I was a cheerleader, of course. Oh, God. This is ruining my reputation as a comedian. No, he was he was, exactly what you said. He was charming. Everyone loved him. It was great. And then we started dating in the fall. And then that summer, I got a job as a mother's helper for my father's best friend in a summer camp. And I convinced my parents and the guy whose camp it was, who was my father's best friend, to hire him as a counselor.
Women always getting men jobs.
Always. And basically what happened is I grew up, the guy who owned the camp, his son and I grew up together. So I was walking past, my ex-boyfriend saw me talking to him and lost it.
Jesus.
And lost it. And it was literally a scene out of a movie. We were watching like camp has the movies, so everyone was in the movies. And I'm sitting there watching the movie, and he comes in and he grabs me. And
in front of people?
It was dark because it was a movie. So he grabs me and pulls me outside. There's a major thunderstorm. That's why it's a movie. It's like, it's raining.
And the lightning.
And totally. And he turns around to me and he goes, why were you talking to him? And I said, because I grew up with him. And he went, boom. And that was it.
What was your reaction to that?
I was
shocked. Because you're so young.
You're 16 years old. You see, back then they didn't have Oprah. Nobody knew that. Like when I talk about the abuse, people are always, because they don't have it. Like if this had happened now,
this was so fucking commonplace back then.
Because
no one fucking talked about it as
exactly.
like being wrong.
Well, that's why you have to start with mental abuse now, because people are like, that's harder to prove.
So absolutely.
So men have leaned into that a little bit more.
Yeah. For the internal bruise. No one could call me out.
Well, he used to hit me.
So men are smart, actually. So stop weaponizing
men
it,
are
you fucks.
super smart. Yeah.
No, he would hit me. The first time it was a couple of times on my face, but then he knew to hit me.
Where the clothes would cover?
Yeah, where they couldn't.
Oh, how did it end?
He was cheating on me. Of course, I know that is shocking that an abusive man was cheating on me.
But when you're young, you're literally perplexed of how could you be jealous and cheat? And then the second you get to your 30s, you're like, if he's jealous, he's cheating.
Right.
Like it goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. So I used to have a bike, a red Schwinn, and I used to ride my bike all over the place, and I knew where she was living, and he was there. And somehow I showed up there.
Nice.
And,
okay, Carrie Underwood, let's go.
And he saw me, and he threw me in his car with my bike, and drove me home, took out a gun.
What?
Put it to my stomach. And said, you can't leave me. I'm like, and I'm literally.
I'm not caught cheating?
Yeah, but he was such a fucking.
What the fuck is that deal?
Yeah, and he was just, and I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute. I just caught you. Like, but they
convince you that you're stupid.
Yeah,
so that logic doesn't hold up.
Right. And finally I just said, I can't do this anymore.
The human psyche is so fucking delicate.
Yeah.
I could sit here for 20 minutes and say, Carole, I love your pink shirt. And then by the end of 20 minutes, you're like, is it pink? I guess it's like, it's just crazy how delicate we are.
Right.
Fuck. How'd he die?
Well, he was really old and fat and gross. So
karma
he died of grossness.
Yeah. And my sister of all people, we were in the car. She goes, did you hear that John died? And I went, he did? And he goes, yeah, because it was somebody from our high school. I said, you do remember he was my abusive ex. Like my sister, the sister who's talking about lasagna and chicken parm, totally blocked it out. She fucking forgot about it.
Purposely?
That actually set me on a course in my life, I really do think, because I would have gone down that road.
Of continuing with an abusive partner?
If I had stayed with him, I'd have been mad. I'd have been dead by now because I would have had 4 or 5 kids.
Lasagna and chicken parm.
Exactly. And so somehow, for some reason, whatever the universe, whatever it was, I was not supposed. That's why, like, when life gets really hard as far as in my career, I always go, you're supposed to be doing this because you would have been doing that.
Right.
And you literally, my life is going like, I'm driving, and it took a huge right turn, and I ended up going into comedy. So in some ways.
Did your parents know he was physically abusive?
Of course they
did.
What
was their reaction?
Well, they were high all the time.
Like, all the
my
time.
God, Carole, so you didn't have anybody.
No.
You didn't have anybody.
No. It was just me.
Shit.
Just me. And at one point, I had come home one time with like a bruise on my mouth, and my father said, "What happened?" I said,
Fell into my boyfriend's fist.
I walked into a wall. That's what women will say every time.
I fell down the stairs.
I fell down the stairs. I walked into a wall. But he always made it seem like it was my fault. So that's
your ex-boyfriend or your father?
Not my father, but my ex-boyfriend. So, and that's really important for women to understand. It's never your fault. If if someone picks a hand up to hit you, it's done. You're done. That's it.
Yeah.
You have to walk away from it. It's very hard. It's very hard. And I was 16 and, an idiot.
And I'm sure you can see, like, did you ever connect the dots on, like, what hurt him? Or was he just born a sociopath, psychotic
his mother was fucked up. His mother was fucked up. I think there was abuse in that family, too. So that had a lot to do with it. I don't think... she was. I think there was physical and sexual abuse in.
It sounds like it because usually that's like the.
I do remember one time him telling me though. One time when she was mad at him and he took her when he was a kid and put his head in the toilet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
so he hates women and thinks they're trash because his mom was mommy dearest.
Right. Exactly.
Fuck.
Exactly.
And then when you grow up, I'm entering this phase now. If you grow up and go, oh, just because you were abused doesn't mean you have to be abusive. Oh,
right.
Okay.
Right. Well,
it's not an excuse. It's not like it explains stuff. Because I imagine it's so fucking confusing to have somebody you love hit you.
Well, but like with my husband, not to disparage my mother-in-law because that'll be another 6 hours, but. She was not a great mother, but he's a great guy. So he's one of the few that went, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change. And he also had an abusive father, so he was not going to do that.
That's amazing.
But people are fucked up, man. I mean, people are like, you're just like, what?
Yeah. It's dark. There's some darkness.
Yeah.
But it's nice that we're finally talking about that darkness. So
absolutely. I think the fact about mental health is like, it's so important to talk about it because,
we've come such a long way in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Like 40 years ago.
We all became addicted to it because we're like, oh, this is so good. We're like mentally jacking off. We're like, oh, this feels so good to heal, to get this out.
Yeah.
And so we became obsessed with mental health.
But
that's good.
Swings.
But also in the city, as I'm sure you know, there's crazy people on the streets all the time.
Yeah.
I'm always aware.
Yeah.
Like there was a guy yelling, and I always look to see what they're carrying. And the guy, he had a couple of shopping bags, but he had a ballpoint pen in his hand. And I went, I'm giving him plenty of room. Because
that's to write.
That's a weapon. Huh?
He likes to write.
He likes to write.
I had a guy chase me with his dick out not that long ago. And I was like, yeah.
But like for those, I feel like just in New York, because we're so close to a lot of people with like severe mental illness. I mean, I spent a long time kind of like thinking like, but who are they? How'd they grow up? Like this is a person. Like, how do you get here? How do you get here? What was their family like? What were they like when they were a kid? Like, I think that like all the time. And I don't know. I was listening to someone talk and they like recommended like there is still like a functioning human in there. So even like sometimes, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this, but like if you make eye contact or if you like address them in a humane way or just like, maybe they can like that glimpse can come back for like a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think they're so used to people just like not making eye contact. Like I don't ever stop because I feel like that's when you can really like engage and actually get harmed. But I always try to be like, if they like answer their question, if they're asking a question or like say hi.
Try to have a kind look in your eye.
Well, and also like in New York, I mean, you end up having your neighborhood homeless people basically.
Right.
So there's like people I will see every day and like, I'll just say hi. I mean, it's like, I know this person. I see this person every day.
Humanize. Yeah. It's all about humanizing.
But also, I mean, I don't know if there's a higher percentage of men or women that are out on the streets and everything, but I notice with the men, you always just have to be careful because it could go bad in a millisecond.
Yeah.
So I just, my husband there used to be a guy that we walk past all the time, and he'd always say after work, because he used to work he's retired now, but he used to work on Broadway shows, and he'd walk by the guy and go, "Hey man, how are you?" And he's like, "Hey, how are you?" And it was you could see the guy light up for a second. He wasn't asking him for money. He just knew him. Because like you said, just that connection. And you can tell when you look at somebody.
Yeah.
If
your
they're crazy.
senses will tingle, I feel like, if you got to get out of there.
Well, when I was young, I lived in Brooklyn, right? And so I used to work in a coffee shop, which is still open.
Wow.
Andrew's Coffee Shop on 28th
cool.
Street.
And Andrew?
Yeah.
Good business plan.
And so I remember walking one day. I had to be at work at like 6. So I was out walking to the subway, because back then I did all that stupid shit. And I was walking to the subway, and there's nobody on the streets. And I see this guy walk past me, and I looked in his eyes, and I in an instant went, "This guy's going to kill me."
Yeah.
And I walked into, because all the kids on the block knew each other. So I just walked into a building, started ringing buttons, and they buzzed me in. And I just stayed there for like 15 minutes, and I was late to work.
Yeah.
But I knew.
Yeah.
I knew that, you can tell when you look at somebody.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, one time me and my 3 girlfriends were walking in Williamsburg, and there was this guy behind us, and we all 3 of us were like, "This guy, no." And then we turned around and he followed us. And my one friend goes, "No."
Right.
Like a fucking dog. And he just ran away. And I was like, wow, we all felt that.
Yeah. And that's important for women. See, we don't use our power enough.
Yeah.
The one thing about me is I think one of the reasons also I was saying, because I was such a larger than life person, I didn't get as much shit as for other female comics, because I don't accept it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think they were afraid of me.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that the male comics that I started up with, they were afraid, like, we're not going to fuck with her. She could hurt us. Yeah. So I think like what your friend did is actually, if you say to a guy, "No,"
Yeah.
they'll go,
Not fucking today, dude.
Yeah. And because John Lennon, of course, the famous quote, "Everyone wears a uniform." I know what I look like. I'm an old Jewish woman walking down the street, okay? You don't know I'm a comedian. You don't know I'm liberal. You don't know anything. So if a group of kids is walking by me and they're angry and they see this old woman, they're going to come after me unless I go, "Really? Are you going to really do that?" And like you put in the mom voice, and they scatter because they're children.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they don't expect, I think people expect women to always be afraid.
Yeah, and when a woman is afraid, a man can feel the sense of power over you. But if you're not afraid, their fucking tail is between their legs.
Yeah, I think that women need to do that more. They need to show their power. Now that doesn't mean that I don't get afraid if I see. Like I'm sure you've seen the gangs of bikes that go through the city.
Yeah.
And we were walking on the street, and one kid, and my husband's with me, and my son, and we're walking. I'm in the middle, and the kid's coming right at me, and I just looked at him, and I just kept walking.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come hit me. Please come hit me.
Let's
Please.
fucking go, dude.
And he, like he was playing chicken with me, and he veered off. I didn't fucking veer off.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now it's like, oh, wait a minute. This, because they're afraid of their mothers. If their mothers knew what they were doing, they'd get the shit kicked out of them.
Right.
But women don't do that. I do it too. How many times have you said sorry when you smack in, when you hit somebody? You walk in and go, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, don't fucking apologize. It's just women tend to have the tendency to always want to apologize, and then when we show our power,
everyone's like, "Oh fuck,
oh god."
The only times I've been like physically threatened in my life, like from a man, like on the street or whatever, because you don't know how you're going to react until it happens.
Right.
I get so fucking angry that they fucking dare think that they can touch me or ruin my day or scare.
Yes.
I get so, I'm like, I will kill you.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I get so mad.
But women have to really, most women are so afraid of showing that side, that angry side.
Right.
I remember a friend of mine was taking some kind of, like how to protect yourself type of
self-defense class?
Yeah, self-defense class.
Yeah.
And I could see she was so like, the guy's like, hit me. And she's like, I'm like, but because it's that nice quality that women are supposed to have.
Yeah.
And we're not nice.
No. And it's nice to see relics of like remnants of, I feel like I see that going away still, but there's also still, like I look at the younger generation, and it's just so interesting to like, think of yourself in your early 20s and what were you like, and then what are these women like, and I get a sense of like defeatedness a little bit, not from men necessarily, but just like the world's a lot, which it is.
Oh
it
yeah.
is. So I don't know.
And I think this generation also is, more aware of how shitty it is.
Yeah.
When we were in our 20s, we're like, la, 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 la,
We're never going to die.
Yeah, we're never going to
nice.
die. I was in the cocaine generation. So I was like, hey, we'd party. Like, we didn't care. We all were like, whatever. You don't think you're going to, and then you get older and you're like, oh.
Oh, whoops.
Oopsie.
I should have died 8 times.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. I'm sure you have. There are so many times.
My first night in New York, I was kidnapped. Technically kidnapped by this guy who drove us to like his house in Brooklyn to do karaoke. We thought we were going to a bar, and he pulled up to his house, and we were like,
oh no.
I guess we'll go in. And we went in, and we're like, what the fuck do we do?
Like the cable guy.
Yeah, it was terrifying. We just cried. We sang, Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me on his home karaoke machine, crying.
How did you get out of that?
He let us go. It was wild.
You are.
We looked at each other like, what the fuck just happened?
Maybe he was just lonely. Crime of loneliness.
Yeah, maybe he really just wanted to hear us sing, Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me? Because he opened his door and goes, you may leave. And I was like, what the fuck?
Wow.
It was crazy.
Wow. Yeah. You are very lucky.
Every time I see that friend, we like rehash that story. We're like, I can't believe we're here. That's crazy.
Wow. That's wild. Do you have anything like that?
No. No, I was raised by, my mom's a huge bitch. Hi, Mom, I love you. So she but in the best way. Like I just like, she has stories of like her being like a prepubescent, just telling men off. So I learned that from a very early age.
Oh,
so there was
good.
none of that shenanigans happening.
Wow.
Yeah.
One topic I want to touch on, especially before we leave, is menopause. That doesn't get talked about enough. It's all a mystery. I feel like pregnancy is a mystery, periods are a mystery, menopause. It's like, wow, but women have been going through those 3 things since women existed,
right?
So forever. So like, what is it? What are your thoughts on it?
On menopause?
Did you get an education on it? What surprised you about it?
Well, talking about periods, which is that leads up to menopause, just in case anyone was wondering. When I got my period, this is how. So you understand, I grew up very naive. When I got my period, which I got in Europe, so
sweet,
and I said to my mother, nobody told me what it was.
How old were you?
You didn't get a heads up?
No, I was like 12.
Me too, yeah.
And my mother smacked me across my face because that was supposed to be some kind of Jewish ritual. I don't.
Are you serious?
My husband says that she was just getting me back for all the shit I was going to give her now that I had my period. But that's what he says. But yeah, so but I had never, and then
it's a lot.
It's a lot. So getting to menopause. Right now, there's like a huge movement on like Instagram, on social media. There's a lot of people who are menopause has become the hip thing for my generation, women in their 50s and up. So there's much more information about it.
Good,
but it was. I remember my mother when I was. We used to before we would travel. We used to stay at a bungalow colony up in. Upstate New York, because my father was a bartender in the Catskills. That's another show.
Cool.
Anyway, but when she'd get her period, she'd just lay in bed all day. So that's all I knew about a period, was that it was painful. I didn't know anything else. But when menopause just started happening, it was just like, oh, okay, all right. You're like it was just. I just knew that I was going to have hot flashes and I was going to stop.
Yeah,
having my period. My doctor, when I was in perimenopause, I was spotting, and I go to my doctor, and this is his exact words. He goes, "Well, you're like an old car, and you're leaking."
Cute, doc.
Yeah,
way to have bedside manner.
Yeah. And so they didn't now they're much more talking about it. Yeah. And when years from now, when you go through it, make sure you talk to them.
Yeah, to the doctors.
Talk to the doctors, and because I have heard so many different. Women, whenever there's an issue about anything, doctors don't believe them. I have a female OBGYN. Not an OB, obviously, a GYN. I do have a male doctor, like a primary, but he's great and he listens to everything I say.
Great.
But make sure they listen to you.
Yeah.
I went into menopause at 50. I'm 66 now, and I still get hot flashes. I still can't sleep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
When did perimenopause start? Because like
away?
honestly, I feel like we didn't even start learning about that until, I don't know, a couple of years ago when Krystyna and I were in a documentary about periods, and Naomi Watts started perimenopause in her late 30s or even earlier maybe, and she's become like a pretty vocal advocate for it. And I learned more from Naomi Watts in that documentary than I've learned in my entire life. So God bless you.
Yeah.
But like when did perimenopause start, and what did that look like?
Well, the leaking, as like my doctor said, the spotting.
How about moods? Are mood swings or no? Those are the worst part for me for periods. I fucking hate them.
You probably have to ask my husband about the mood swings. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I just live my life. So I would think.
For you.
No, but I would think that I probably did have mood swings. And there were times. I mean, I'm sure there were things were thrown.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I just assumed that was just me.
I'm a firecracker.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just the spotting, the dryness, not getting your period, then getting it again, and you have to be not having a period for a year before you're officially in menopause.
Oh, okay.
And so and how long is the period between perimenopause and menopause, or how long for you?
I would probably say that I would say, like, I was 50 when I would probably say 5 years. Perimenopause is longer than menopause because it's
how long
slow.
is menopause?
Well, once it's a year of no period, you're considered in menopause.
Right.
Okay. So perimenopause you could start at 40 and then until you, like, in other words, you could go through perimenopause and you'd be like, wow, this is great. 11 months, I don't have my period, and then you get your period again. So you have to start all the fuck over again.
Jesus.
So are you and you're still fertile during this period of
I think you're fertile. I think you're still fertile.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Perimenopause. I mean, that when they start talking about that, I go, this is not only do we not talk about menopause enough, perimenopause, I think we kind of just didn't even really mention.
No.
I don't even know.
I'm like, does every woman get that?
Like, I knew what she was talking about, but I was like, I don't know that I've ever once in my life as a woman had a conversation about perimenopause until we were asked to appear in a documentary, and that's how we learned about it.
Right.
Watching a documentary we were asked to be in, and the only reason we were watching it is because we were invited because we were in it.
Yeah. But the whole thing about everything with women's bodies.
Yeah.
This is the part of women's bodies that men don't want to talk about.
Right, because it doesn't have to do with making a baby for them or being sexy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not sexy.
Uh-huh.
It's not, I mean.
God forbid.
No, but that's the whole thing about women.
But they're always asking us to do shit for them that's not sexy. Popping back pimples. And like, I don't mind. I'll get into a back pimple.
I love a back pimple.
I'll fucking get into it.
Yeah, ask her. Don't ask me.
But the whole thing about that's different because a back pimple is not in your body. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but men never have a problem like announcing something that's wrong with their body and asking for help.
Yeah, they're like almost too comfortable with themselves.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It's like society hasn't gotten down on them for that or something.
No. Like, when I pee, it burns. Well, go to the fucking doctor. But with us, we're supposed to be either the mother or the whore.
Right. Yeah. I literally feel like as a woman, like you're like, it's like, and in the video game Mortal Kombat where you have like little coins that are about like that for your lifespan. I feel like every time we mention something that goes wrong with our bodies, like one of those points goes away.
Off in the guy's head.
Yeah, that's like what it feels like. Yeah.
Well, but getting back to the whole period thing, for when I started, the reason women, like one of the reasons I created the show that I did, Funny Women of a Certain Age on Showtime, is because we don't get to be on shows together. Right. It's different now. There's more progressiveness where there's more than one thing. But the line I would hear every fucking time is why there are no women on the show, because you're all going to talk about your period. That's what they talk about. That's the only thing.
I really don't have one joke about periods.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
But that's the way they think. But yet every guy can be booked that talks about being in his mother's basement, getting high, jerking off. That's okay.
Right.
Or porn or whatever it is. And so this whole thing about what we do, bleeding and then not bleeding and then not having, not being fertile, it all comes down to being fertile is being sexy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And once you start talking about the fact that, shit happens. I mean, when I gave birth, I couldn't push because I had a stool stuck up my ass.
Wow.
And I'm pushing.
Damn.
I'm being very, very, very.
I love it.
Your poor engineer.
I recently learned a lot of women poop on the.
And so wait a minute, it's even better than that. I couldn't, and I'm pushing, and I'm like, I can't. And the doc, all of a sudden, my doctor put his glove in, went into my colon, pulled it out, and I was able to birth.
Whoa, that's a man for you. Damn.
He got it down low.
Holy shit, literally.
Yeah.
Was your husband there to see?
Oh, everyone was there.
There we go.
Everyone was there. Who else was there?
The janitor, the mother-in-law, my daughter.
Hospital staff, the nurses.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Wow. I mean, I knew that. I remember learning that happens on the show. And, But I remember being shocked. And then think back at how shocked I was. I'm like, Jesus Christ, we don't know anything about what happens to us.
Wait, did you have like an epidural? Does that make you constipated or something? Or you were just from life, you were just...
Well, I went into labor in the morning. They had to induce me. I went into labor early, and then I hadn't eaten, and I don't know what it was. I really don't.
Oh, yeah. I'm really fascinated by like just what the body goes through during birth and pregnancy.
I didn't have an epidural, and I remember this now because I wanted to have. I had to be one of those stupid fucking women going, I want it to be natural. And
my mom loved it though. She did one with epidural, one without, and she said she regrets she said she loved the natural.
Oh, really?
She said
I
it was
started
so cool.
screaming.
Really? She said it was awesome.
I was like, get me the drug. I was like, get me an epidural, and the doctor was, it's too late. I'm like, motherfucker. And by the way, I gave birth at Burbank, I forgot, St. Joseph Hospital in Burbank, and it's a Catholic hospital. That was the only thing my insurance took.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Exactly. There's a cross.
That's so
as
funny.
I'm staring, going, goddamn motherfucker. Get the baby out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're Jews, we're loud.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's fine. This has been incredible. Thank you for regaling us with your tales.
Oh my God, I had so much fun.
This is great. Where can we find more of you? What would you like to promote?
What would I like to promote? My senior dog. No, I'm social media at Carole Montgomery Comic is really where you can find me. My generation, of course, is more apt to be on Facebook or Instagram.
Yeah.
I have a TikTok, but I don't do much.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, I just like
call to you.
Well, you know what it is, and I give. I really do. I give people that do that is great, but that is another. I have too much shit to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
TikTok dance, Carol? You're not going to join the 7M cult?
What's that?
I don't know what that is. I'm in your camp. I'm like, fuck, I can't.
It's a TikTok dancing cult. There's a Netflix documentary about it.
Oh my God.
That's what they're very into it this week. There's a new cult documentary every week.
Every week. But, like I said at the beginning of the show, I mean, whatever everyone is doing, I support anything that promotes comedy because comedy in this day and age, we need it. Mm-hmm. But I'm an old school comic. I write my jokes. I go on stage. I tell my jokes. I go home. I don't have the bandwidth anymore. Plus, because I'm also running Funny Women of a Certain Age.
Yeah.
Because that's we're on tour again in September. Well, we have Caroline Ray's going to be on one of the shows. Tammy Pescatelli's going to be on one of the shows.
Tammy.
So we have our own webpage, and we have if you Google Funny Women of a Certain Age, you can see all the the social media for that also. But like I said, I'm so busy doing that too because it's when. I mean, you guys know you have this.
Yeah.
So
it's all I do is like watch stuff for clips.
Right.
Now I think in clips.
Right. So you're constantly trying to do it, and it's like I just don't have the bandwidth to do it anymore. But please follow me on social media. Please follow Funny Women of a Certain Age. That to me is my pride and joy because I want to leave the comedy world better for the comics coming up behind me, and we've showcased so many great older female comics. So and female comics are better. That's all. We're better. We are. Sorry, guys. I love you guys. I have some really
better at everything.
But I mean, and I have some great. I mean, there's some great male comics that I love and I adore. But when I look at what's out there right now, I think women are doing more interesting stuff. So and support all live comedy. Support these gals. These gals are great. I mean, just yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Guys.
This is great.
Thank you. We loved having you. This has been Guys We Fuck, the Anti-Slut Shaming Podcast. We'll talk to you next Friday.